Okay, so we're continuing our football club history series. This morning we're looking at Sheffield United Football Club, the younger of the two professional clubs in Sheffield. Obviously, Sheffield Wednesday, the older of the two. Very similar foundation stories involving cricket clubs. And of course, Bramall Lane was the home of Sheffield Wednesday until Sheffield United come along, because the owner of Bramall Lane obviously had issues over Sheffield Wednesday paying the rent. They move out. Sheffield United born, they move in. So very, very similar to Everton and Liverpool in Merseyside with Anfield, and then Everton moving to Goodison, issues over the rent. Liverpool getting formed to fill Anfield. Sheffield United, similar story. So they're founded in 1888. They were also known as the Cutlers, but they're also the Blades. But the Cutlers was another one of their nicknames because of the Steel City sort of links. And they were an offshoot of the Sheffield Cricket Club. So Sheffield Wednesday are an offshoot of the Wednesday Cricket Club. These guys, the rival cricket club, they're an offshoot of that. They're overlooked by the Football Alliance. They applied to join the Football Alliance. The Football League are not interested in them joining, so they want to join the Midland Football Alliance, and they're overlooked. So for their first year, they play friendlies as a football club, and then in the 1890-91 season, they joined the Midland League, basically in anger at being overlooked by the Football Alliance. The following season, in 1891-92, they joined the Northern League. At the end of that season, they applied to join the Football League First Division. And the First Division is expanding by a couple of teams, but they don't get enough required votes to be admitted. But they are admitted alongside, guess what, the Football Alliance clubs, because the Football Alliance has failed as a league, hasn't succeeded as a rival league to the Football League. So the irony is, the league that turned them down goes out of business, and they join the expanded Second Division of the Football League in 1892. They're the first side to win promotion from the new Division 2 to Division 1 that season in 1892-93. There you go. So, very, very quickly, Sheffield United are very, very successful. Another quirky fact, though, much later in their history, they're the first club to score a goal in the Premier League. Brian Deane scored the first goal at Bramall Lane in the Premier League in a 2-1 win over Manchester United in the 92-93 season. So, 100 years later, that's thinking 100 years later, from being admitted to the Football League, they are the first club to score a Premier League goal. I thought I'll just drop that little fun fact in there. Also, they're one of only 5 teams to win all 4 divisions of the Football League. We've covered that in a previous video as well. But there are their fun league facts. But as I say, very, very quickly, they're a very successful side. And imagine if they'd been allowed into the First Division straight off the bat in 1892. Could they have had a bit more silverware? So, they win the Division 1 title in the 1897-98 season, and they're runners-up twice as well, in the 1896-97 season, so the season before they become league champions, and in the 1899-1900 season, so 2 years after they are league champions. And this is a very successful spell for the club. This is where they get a lot of silverware. They also win the FA Cup 4 times. They won it in the 1898-99 season, so the season after their league champions. The 1901-1902 season, the season after their second runner-up push, or 2 years after, shall I say. The last FA Cup before football is suspended in World War I in the 1914-1915 season. And then finally, in the 1924-25 season, they have been runners-up in the FA Cup twice, 1900-1901 and 1935 and 1936. Imagine if World War I didn't take place, because they were a very, very good side before the First World War really kicks in and play is suspended. That's where all their silverware comes from. 1 trophy after the First World War. Another club where a global conflict has disrupted their silverware, I believe, because they were one of the top sides in the country at the time. The records are quite interesting as well. Their first season in the Football League is one of their record wins. So they have 2 10-0 wins as records and a 6-0 win in the Cup. Their first 10-0 win comes in their first season, comes against Port Vale in the old Division 2 in the 1892-93 season. They also beat Burnley 10-0 in Division 1 in the 1928-29 season. And their biggest cup win comes as a 6-0 versus Leyton Orient in the FA Cup first round in the 2016-2017 season. Their highest attendance ever, 68,287 versus Leeds United. Who else? In the FA Cup 5th round in the 35-36 season, the year they're runners-up in that year's FA Cup. Now, Biggest rivals obviously are Sheffield Wednesday, but Bramall Lane, this is the interesting thing, former home of Sheffield Wednesday, is actually the oldest stadium in continuous use in the Football League. It was first used for sport in 1862. It is the oldest football stadium currently in use, although it has been a multi-use stadium. It's going to be used in the Rugby League World Cup. It's been used for cricket. It's been used for rugby union. Bramall Lane, however, is the oldest Football League stadium currently in use. It's one of the oldest stadiums in the world currently in use. 1862. It's a fantastic stadium. So there's a brief history of Sheffield United Football Club, the younger of the two clubs in Sheffield, but very, very successful in the FA Cup. And for a brief period, they were one of the top sides in the country in the decade and a half after being admitted to the Football League. They were one of the top sides. They were runners-up a couple of times, runners-up in the FA Cup a couple of times. Only one league title, which I find surprising, but 4 FA Cups, 5 major trophies in total. A little bit on the low side, considering the age of the club. However, they've got more silverware than some clubs have, and they are a very historical and important club to English football. As I say, first club to score a goal in the Premier League, founder club of the Premier League as well, and one of only 5 teams to win all 4 divisions of the Football League. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. There's a brief history of Sheffield United Football Club, the Blades. Let's see if they can get out the Championship and back into the Premier League this season. Let's hope. And I'll have some more content and more videos for you very, very soon.